All right, everybody, how we doing today? Sukaba here, coming at you guys with a VBL-S Season 6 draft review. So I did one of these for last season. Had a blast with my first season in the VBL-S. We wrapped up Season 5 a few weeks ago. My first draft league experience, so I think it was really fun, first of all. I've been loving the league, being involved in the chat, making the teams every week. A lot of people together that just love Pokemon, so it's pretty cool to see. Definitely learned a lot, I think, in my first season of the VBL-S. So I went with a little top-heavy draft last season for the BDSP format, and I learned about the flaws of doing that. I learned about how to make sure that you cover your bases with team typing. So this time I tried to go for something a little less weak to rock, ice, electric, etc. So hopefully that'll give me some more success this season. I went 3-4, so not bad for my first season. Had some really close games too, with a lot of people. Really fun to do the best of 3 format as well. So we're back on Sword and Shield now for some no Dynamax, no restricted VGC draft league. So that's where we're at with this. So I had the 4th pick in this draft. Going in, when I found out I had the 4th pick, I was really hoping I'd be able to get one of 2 Pokemon. So first off, I really wanted Whimsicott. I love running hyper offense with Whimsicott, Tailwind with a bunch of Glass Cannon, or high power up Pokemon. Unfortunately, Whimsicott went first overall, so that wasn't going to happen. Other Pokemon I wanted was Grimmsnarl, right? So that's what we ended up getting at 4. So let's put that right in here. So Grimmsnarl. So I think it was 16 points, which I felt like was pretty good value for this Pokemon. I mean, that's a very expensive, right? But given a lot of the other mons that were going in the top 10, like a lot of those 18 pointers, 17 pointers, I felt like Grimmsnarl at 16 was pretty good. This Pokemon has a lot of power, I think, especially in the draft league format. So obviously, when you think about Grimmsnarl on ladder, you think prankster screens, right? You think Thunder Wave. This guy has so much that in his toolkit, right? He's got those dual screens. You get Thunder Wave, fake out user, which is big for the draft league, especially. I know for a Dynamax format, you might see Trick with like a lagging tail or something like that. Don't really think that'll be coming too much in handy, but it's in my arsenal. It's got Prankster Taunt, and obviously being a dark type, immune to being taunted from pranksters itself. So I think this Pokemon's going to give me a lot of power in this format. I also think that screens in general are a little bit more powerful when there's no Dynamax options. It's a lot harder for opposing teams to break through that wall. So given that it's a draft league, obviously some people might try to get around that by running Brick Break or Psychic Fangs, maybe some screen cleaner ability Pokemon. I think a couple of them got drafted, so it'd be interesting to see. But this guy's going to make my opponent's prep rather, very difficult, I think. And it gives me a lot of options. So that was my first pick. I was very happy to get it. So then, obviously, went through the first round, had to come back around the snake. For the second, I had my eyes on one mon in particular that I didn't think would make it all the way there, but it did, and that's Kartana. So another 16-point Pokemon that I felt matched up really well with Grimmsnarl that I already had. So when you think about Kartana, you see that 181 attack stat, right? And it's one of the most powerful, hard-hitting Pokemons in the game, right? 109 base speed as well, pretty fast. Obviously, the crippling weakness with this Pokemon is its 4 times weakness to fire, and also its 31 special defense stat. So this thing is a piece of paper if you have a special attacker. Typing is pretty good. Fire Steel, it's pretty much only weak to fighting, Grass Steel, only weak to fire and fighting, with an immunity to poison as well. So it's got really good resistances. Obviously, there's a lot of neutral attacks that are very common against it. Like, I know people would want to run, maybe Ice is a very popular attacking move, Flying, Ground, etc. That being said, I think that I have the perfect partner to make up for some of the weaknesses that Kartana has. So when you set up screens with Grimmsnarl, especially light screen in this instance, I think that I'm in a prime position to take advantage of Kartana's power without sacrificing too much of its special defense weakness, right? I could buff it up with that. If I run Assault Vest and I have light screen up, that special defense ain't looking as bad as it did before, and I still get the perks of having this deadly Pokemon, right? Beast Boost is a crazy move. Really excited to see if I can use this to some success. I think Kartana's a little better when there's Dynamax. You know, you get max Airstream, max Steel Spike, and all that. But I'm excited to see what I can do with it in this non-Dynamax format. I think it's going to put in a lot of work, and those two in particular are going to be really scary. So I think to double down on this concept of trying to buff up Kartana without being too weak to that special defense stat and its 4x fire weakness, I really wanted to get Chandelure on the way back in round 3, and I was able to get it for 12 points. So this is a Pokemon that I absolutely love. One of my favorites all time to use in VGC. I have had so much fun using this Pokemon on the ladder in the past seasons, and even, you know, season 11 I was using Chandelure with a lot of success. This guy is so cool. So not only does it have a really powerful 145 special attack, but it also has Flash Fire. So Flash Fire is going to pair really well with Kartana, right? So obviously if I have Chandelure in the back, you're going to think twice about using a fire move on my Kartana. Not only that, Chandelure is also immune to fighting, which is the only other of Kartana's weakness. So this was like the perfect thing to slide into my team right here. Gives me a Trick Room option and also a way to counter Trick Room. So Chandelure gets Imprison and Trick Room, which is one of the best ways to counter a hard Trick Room team. And I think there are a couple in this league that would definitely want to be running Trick Room more often than not. So Chandelure is really going to come in handy there and be a scary guy to think about in prep. But I think these three is my core to start with. I was absolutely thrilled. Chandelure also gets Will-O-Wisp. You know, it's got 80 speed, which isn't bad. You know, if you run max speed, it's serviceable, good enough. And it hits hard. Like, I don't even view this as just like a Trick Room mon. Like, this guy, like, throwing out Heat Waves and Shadow Balls does a lot of damage. So you got to definitely focus on him when he's on the field. So that's going to give me a lot of options. I'm really excited to use that core. So then round 4, I wanted to kind of round out this like grass, fire, water core that has been tossed around a lot as like a good recipe for building a team, right? To cover each other's bases. And I saw that Rotom Wash was available for 13 points. So that's what I went with. And this Pokemon's pretty cool. I like the washing machine, you know. Like definitely my favorite of the Rotom forms, you know. Who needs an oven or a freezer or a fan? You know, get that washing machine in there. That's what I needed on my team. Levitate, one of the best abilities in the game, especially when you're an electric type. So it gets rid of that weakness right here. So Rotom Wash is only weak to grass, which I have really good options for covering that weakness on my team already, right? I have Chandelure, Kartana, which obviously don't care much about a grass attack. Rotom Wash gives me a powerful electric type and water type that's going to slide right into my team here. Also great utility on this Pokemon, right? You get screens on Rotom as well. Ally Switch is always annoying. Gets Helping Hand, Will-O-Wisp, Trick, Thunder Wave. Like, this guy's got a lot of stuff. And also, like, if you run like a Nasty Plot set, can definitely be a really potent special attacker as well. Pretty good base stats, you know. Surprisingly bulky for a 50 HP stat Pokemon. You know, it's obviously got good defense and special defense stats and a decent special attack as well. 86 speed. Really good Pokemon. You know, I feel like most people know what to expect with Rotom Wash at this point. You know, it's solid. So no way that I wasn't going to add that to my arsenal here. So this is where I kind of had to make a decision, right? So I had already used a good chunk of my points, and I didn't want to fall into the same trap I did last season, where I really only had 7 usable Pokemon that were all very weak to the same things. My type chart was looking pretty good at this point, so I decided I wanted to get some more powerful coverage, right? So When you think about cores for a team, you think grass, fire, water, or you think steel, dragon, fairy, right? Those 2 cores have been thrown around a lot in the VGC community as how to build a successful team, which we kind of talked about earlier. So I went with Gardevoir next. So Gardevoir was the best fairy type that was still available that I felt was for the best value. There's a lot of interesting stuff you could do with Gardevoir. So obviously you get Trick Room, which gives me another option for that. You get some pretty cool abilities: Trace, Synchronize, Telepathy. But this Pokemon has pretty good special attack. So 125. Scarf Gardevoir with Dazzling Gleam is always going to be something people are going to be afraid of. So even though the speed isn't that good, often you'll see this run on ladder with a Scarf. I'm going to try to do some cool stuff with this. I think that Fairy is one of the best offensive types. And I thought it was pretty good value at 11 points, just considering what kind of value this would bring to my team. So we'll see how I can make it happen with that. So I was kind of going at this point for that dual core, right? So I wanted the Dragon, Fairy, Steel in addition to the Grass, Fire, Water I already had. So when I came back around, I made a big decision to take Salamence. So Salamence was 14 points, which is a lot. So I know I said that I didn't really want to fall into that trap of going too top heavy again. But honestly, looking at what a lot of other people were doing with their teams, it was a very top heavy draft. And I think when you keep the same amount of points that we did last season at 110, and we lowered the tiers a little bit, right? So last season, the highest tier was 22, 20, 19. This season, the highest tier was 18. So everything was kind of shifted a little bit. So I felt a little more comfortable going for this top heavy draft. And a lot of these I think I was able to accomplish this by getting Gardevoir, Rotom, and Chandelure on a little bit of the lower end of the mid tier, or in that mid tier, I suppose. That really let me feel a little more comfortable doing this move. So Salamence is a Pokemon that I also historically love using in VGC. I remember using this back in 2013, in X and Y. I would run Salamence. This guy's got a lot of options. Obviously, Intimidate's a great ability in this format of VGC. Pretty good typing of Dragon and Flying. Obviously, you're 4 times weak to Ice, which is never great. You get that Rock weakness as well from the Flying type. But overall, not bad typing at all. And having another powerful Dragon attacker to complete that, I have a lot of offensive coverage on this team. I'll be able to hit everything super effectively and also cover my teammates' weaknesses, right? With this double core that I went for. So you also get Moxie on Salamence if I wanted to run a little bit more of a strictly offensive damage dealing set. A lot of the times you'll see Salamence running either a Scarf or Specs or something like that, just to take advantage of the fact that you're going to want to be switching it in and out often to take advantage of that Intimidate ability. So that's definitely an option for me as well. One thing that I liked about Salamence also was that it gave me Tailwind. So I think having speed control options in Draft League is really critical, right? So I already have a lot of speed control with Trick Room on Gardevoir and Chandelure, and I get Thunder Wave on Grimmsnarl, which is going to help a lot. But having that option for Salamence to have Tailwind, maybe if I'm running against a weather team that is going to be using Chlorophyll or Sandrush users or something like that, this will help me out a lot. To have Tailwind as an option, it's just another thing that people have to think about. I know Kartana gets it as well, but if Kartana's on the field, you don't really want to be clicking Tailwind, I don't think. You want to be taking advantage of that power. So that gave me the option of that as well. What I liked also about Salamence is that I can run it as a physical or special attacker, right? So obviously it has a higher attack stat, but I find that a lot of the times I have more success in the past running Salamence special. And it's another thing where, I think I learned from my first season, Draft League's all about how it's all on the prep, right? You could be a better Pokemon player and just get out prepped by somebody that is really good at building a team, right? So it's more so about giving yourself options and making it harder for the other person to just completely shut down your whole team. So having Salamence as either of those options is going to be really, really nice for me. And obviously it gave me another faster Pokemon. A lot of my Pokemon are in the 80 right now. So having that 100 speed is going to be nice. So that was the completed core right there about my double core setup that I wanted, really focused around Kartana. So this is my first 6 Pokemon. I was really happy with this, right? So I still have 28 points, and I wanted to get some more Pokemon that I would actually use, right? I didn't want to get cute with it and try to just like pick another like 18-point Pokemon and then be done with it, right? I wanted to try to fill this out in a meaningful way. So next up, I wanted to get another support option, and I went for Butterfree right here. So Butterfree for 9 points I felt like was pretty good value. I had this Pokemon last season, and when I brought it, it did a lot of work. So this is another Pokemon that gets Tailwind. It gets Sleep Powder, Rage Powder. This is a great Pokemon if I want to run like a Trick Room option with my team. I could lead like Butterfree Chandelure, Butterfree Gardevoir. You know, get that Trick Room up for sure with Rage Powder or whatchamacallit. I could start putting people to sleep if I throw a scarf on it or something. Like, there's a lot of cute stuff you could do with Butterfree. This Pokemon's really cool. I love the utility it provides. I hate playing against Butterfree as well, so I figured if I grabbed it up, none of you people could get your slimy hands on it, so I would never have to play against it. So that was another option for me. So I have Grimmsnarl for support, you know, Chandelure, Rotom also with some options. Now I have that Butterfree to really give me some more stuff to play with. So given that I just decided that I wanted to have this other Trick Room option available, I had my eyes on another Pokemon that would really let me take advantage of that I thought synergized really well with the rest of my team. So that was Mudsdale. So let me throw Mudsdale in right here. This Pokemon I had my eyes on a little earlier as well, like even as soon as round 4, just because I felt like this has really good synergy with Grimmsnarl as well. So it gets the own tempo ability, which makes it immune to confusion. So pairing that with Prankster Swagger on Grimmsnarl, I could get a lot of power on my Mudsdale very quickly. And that's a really scary thing that I think I can add to my team. Ground is one of the best offensive types in the game. So having this low-speed Pokemon I could use to counter other Trick Rooms or set up my own that takes advantage of that typing and has that synergy with Grimmsnarl as well is really just going to give me a lot of options. I'm really excited to have some fun with this. It's got some really other great abilities too. Stamina is good. Stamina is where every time they get hit by a physical attack, I think their defense is raised by a stage. So, you know, you could do some cool stuff with beat up with that. I've seen it a long time ago in VGC on the ladder. But inner focus as well, being immune to flinch and intimidate is obviously powerful in any VGC format. So just looking at my team right now, you know, I only had 7 points left. I'm a lot happier with this set of 8 Pokemon than I was with my 8 that I chose last season. So I know I said earlier that I didn't want to fall into that trap of being top heavy again, yet here we are. But I think I've covered my bases a lot better this time. I don't really see any crippling weakness to my team that was available last time. So obviously last time I was really, like, everything on my team was weak to rock and ice. And I know my type chart says that right here as well. But, you know, I'm not bringing Butterfree every week, so it'll be a little better than that, than it's currently depicted. I think I'm covering my grounds a lot more here. I think having screens with Grimmsnarl just helps the rest of my team as well. I have a lot of powerful Pokemon that are not as bulky, so having those screens available with the Prankster and Grimmsnarl's great bulk and typing and all that is going to give me a really tough team to prep for and beat. So I had 7 points left. I had my eyes on a 5-point Pokemon that I thought would really round out my team. I wanted Sirigonal, but alas, it was stolen from me 1 pick before I was about to take it, which was very poor. So I kind of had to think about it a while on what I wanted to do here, and I ended up going with Wartortle. So it was 5 points for Wartortle. This Pokemon gave me some more options. You know, if you run an Eviolite on it, it's actually pretty bulky with base 80 defense and special defense. You throw an Eviolite on there, and you're actually looking at a pretty bulky Pokemon that gets Yawn, Helping Hand, Icy Wind, Fake Out. I just thought it was the best thing available, honestly. I'm not really sure how I'm going to use it. Gives me another Fake Out user to, you know, throw out there and prep and whatnot. But I could see some very interesting situations where I consider bringing Wartortle to a game, but honestly, I thought it was not bad value given the amount of points I had left. So with my last 2 points, I was able to go with 2 Bagmons. I think I took like Aaron and one of the sheep Pokemon. I forget what it's even called, honestly. But those were just throwaways, right? So this is my team. Really happy with it. I'm a lot happier with this team than I was with my last one. I'm really excited to use it too. Like, just looking at this team, these are Pokemon that I have fun using, that I like. I think that's one of the most important things about a draft league, is not only like getting the chance to put together some Pokemon and like see if you could build a good team, but also just picking things that you're going to enjoy playing with, rather than just trying to find like the best value or the best ever possibility of combinations, right? So, you know, there were some other Pokemon I considered taking throughout this, but I'm pretty happy with this in the end. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun with my dual core experiment here, that I'm going to call it, right? I get the best of both worlds with that. So we'll see how it goes. I'm really excited to see what I could do this season. A lot of great teams in my division and the other division as well. So I'm looking forward to battling it out, getting some prep done. So that's going to be all for this video. Draft review for Season 6. I'm super excited. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.